In question 1 of my evaluation questions, I look at the ways in which my product used, developed or challenged forms and conventions. Our documentary includes a variety of codes and conventions that we followed so we could make it look as professional as possible. The first code and convention that we followed was having a presenter. The presenter was a main feature to having a documentary as you need to tell someone what's going on. The documentary that I chose to compare it to was The Truth About Alcohol, which is a documentary about the consumption of alcohol. They also had a presenter which was facing directly into the camera explaining his intentions during the documentary. Archival footage. We included archival footage in our documentary to make it more visually appealing for the audience. This was also done in the other documentary where they showed the news reports, making it seem very factual. The actuality footage that was included is necessary in a documentary as it shows what is actually going on, and this is very typical to have lots of footage in a documentary as you want to keep the audience entertained. I feel like we could have included more footage instead of repeating the same clips that we did multiple times. Statistics. Statistics and facts are always good to include in your documentary as they make it appear reliable and trustworthy. We adhered to this code as we wanted our documentary to be trusted by viewers and actually gain information from it. Expert interviews. We only included 2 expert interviews in our documentary, whereas in the documentary I counted a total of 5 experts as the documentary was longer. We could have included 1 more expert to make our documentary more reliable so that the audience can trust our opinions more. Our documentary uses the typical code and convention of vox pops, which is the public's opinions. These are always included in documentaries so they can find out what people think and get a wider opinion on the topic they are filming about. We thought that having 2 types of audiences would make our documentary really interesting and entertaining to watch. Our DPS included a variety of codes and conventions, and one code and convention that we made sure we had was to have page numbers. This is a typical feature of a DPS, and this made ours appear more professional and can help readers navigate through the Radio Times magazine. The drop cap at the very start of the article makes our DPS to be more of a high standard and yet again looks more professional. The stand first gives information about the article, and when it says 4 young students create big success over their newly released documentary Hooked Online, this gives an enigma code to the audience from Roland Barthes' narrative theory, which makes them want to read the article and find out who the students are and what they've done. The grab quote we included, Best Documentary About Addiction of 2018, gives enigma codes from Roland Barthes that makes the audience want to know all about how severe the addiction is. A few codes and conventions which we challenged were not included in the secondary images. We thought this because the main image is so big that it captures the audience attention. We only had 2 columns as well when there is meant to be 3 columns in a normal DPS. We challenged this because we thought it looked good with 2. There is also no negative space on our article, and the main image filled all the space. We tried to adapt the rule of thirds to fit the phone of social media addiction so it captures the audience attention again, and to contrast this, we had the white from the phone contrasting from the colours from the background. There is also codes and conventions that were used in this real-life DPS compared to our DPS. The drop caps at the start of the article were similar to ours. There was also a stand first included, and this gave information on what the article is about. This is similar to ours, and this makes ours appear really professional. In contrast, this real-life DPS used 3 columns, whereas ours didn't use 3 columns, it used 2. We still feel like the DPS looked professional and looked very good, although we could have included 1 more. There is also a use of a grab quote, which ours did too. And again, this DPS used quite a lot of negative space, whereas ours didn't. We only included the main image, which was the focus.
If you could see what I could see, you'd see the determination in a hero's eyes, the vivid colours of magical lands, and the sparkle of my daughter's smile. If you could see what I could see, you'd have a Samsung Galaxy S smartphone. For films, games, photos, and over 100,000 Android apps, the choice is clear. The award-winning Samsung Galaxy S, with our brightest, most brilliant screen, and now over £50 worth of films and games for free. The Samsung Galaxy S.
Our radio advert was a minute long, whereas the one about the Samsung was only 30 seconds. We purposely challenged this form and convention of having a short radio advert as we wanted to include more information about our documentary. Our radio advert tells us the qualities of the product, and so does the other advert. A voiceover and a music bed are also included, which we copied from hearing a few other radio adverts, and we thought that this was necessary. We challenged the code and convention of having a slogan for the product, as we can advertise our product with a DPS, and we feel that not including a slogan was not that important.